acting Attorney General is Todd Blanche. After Pam Bondi was told to get out of town, Todd Blanche, who was the Deputy Attorney General, President Trump's personal lawyer, took over. In fact, Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche were both President Trump's personal lawyers at one point in time. But it was Todd Blanche who, of course, rocketed to stardom, I guess you could say, or infamy, as he had to defend President Trump against an insane amount of lawfare. And you could see Todd Blanche standing by Donald Trump in some of the more famous legal cases that were brought against him, and that earned him a spot inside of the Trump administration and Trump's trust. And so here we have sitting today Todd Blanche as the new acting Attorney General of the United States of America. Who is this guy? Well, here's what he had to say. Pam Bondi led the department with strength and conviction. Thanks, President Trump, for the opportunity to serve as acting Attorney General. I'll continue back the blue, enforce law enforcement, and to keep America safe. Okay. Thomas Massie came right over the top and said, "Congratulations, AG Blanche. You now have 30 days to release the rest of the Epstein files before becoming criminally liable for failure to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act." Now, this is very interesting because Todd Blanche was the one that was dispatched to the special prison that they held Ghislaine Maxwell at. And you can see here in the hundreds of pages, I mean, look at this, nearly 300 pages of a deposition between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell. And it is a lot, right? We've covered a lot. We've covered a considerable amount of this. But what happened here was that Todd Blanche, after this interview, got Ghislaine Maxwell moved, in fact. Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, said that she pled the fifth for a couple of things. Todd Blanche went back the next day. They had like almost a 3-day interview. And then she got moved to a minimum security prison. I have no idea if this is like part of some type of more like bigger deal. Who knows what happened behind the scenes? Ghislaine Maxwell wouldn't testify before Congress. She completely pled the fifth, so she didn't say anything to Congress, but she did sing like a canary to Todd Blanche, and then got moved to a minimum security prison, what many people call pretty much like it's just a federal hotel in Texas. Todd Blanche on Sunday defended the decision to move the convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell to a minimum security prison, citing the threats against her as the reason for her transfer. In a Meet the Press interview, Blanche said the decision to transfer Maxwell to a less restrictive facility was made by the Bureau of Prisons. Every decision they make lands on the desk that it intends to. At the time I met Miss Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her. The institution she was in, she suffered numerous threats against her life, he said. Okay. She was moved from a prison in Florida to a minimum security prison called Club Fed in Texas, shortly after Blanche's interview with her. So anyway, many people saw this, and they have every right to, as some type of favorable treatment to Epstein and his co-conspirator, Maxwell. And so Blanche has now done his first interview on this subject after the threats from Thomas Massie to release more of the Epstein files. And here's what he had to say.
Now, the Epstein files, you'd agree, not handled well?
And I don't, first of all, I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. And so look, the Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And what happened when the President signed the Transparency Act is the Department of Justice has now released all the files with respect to the Epstein saga. And the Attorney General Bondi and I appeared in front of Congress voluntarily a couple weeks ago to answer any questions they had. We have made every single congressman, senator available to come and see any document, redacted, unredacted, that they want. And so I think that to the extent that the Epstein files was a part of the past year of this Justice Department, it should not be a part of anything going forward.
Okay, well, I mean, you've combed through these files, right? Who was Epstein spying for?
Look, I don't know that he was spying for anybody. Nobody's ever said that.
No? You don't think he might have been a spy for a foreign country?
I have no idea if he was a spy. All I know is that we don't have any evidence in the Epstein files that the FBI collected over 15 years that suggests that, Jesse. I don't know. I wasn't part of the original prosecution team. Neither was Attorney General Bondi. And I can tell you this, there's only one president that's held Mr. Epstein accountable, and that's Donald J. Trump. During his first administration, that was the administration that prosecuted him, and during this administration, it's the administration that's been totally transparent and released all the files. And no matter how much criticism people want to make about the Epstein files, that is indisputable. It's undisputable that nobody talked about the Epstein files for 4 years during Biden, 4 years. And so when President Trump said, let's release the Epstein files, and the law was passed that allowed us to legally do it, we did it.
So he's saying we're not getting any more Epstein files. Now, this post got community noted, saying that while the DOJ did release 3.5 million files, and we've covered quite a few of them on this channel, that there are still allegedly 6 million total files, and what the DOJ released was redacted, and certainly millions short of what they said, the files that they had. So how are we to know if he's telling the truth? How are we supposed to know? He says there's no evidence of them spying. I mean, dude, he had Mossad running his security cameras. He had multiple Israeli prime ministers living with him. It's like, you know, and he's passing off. I mean, he's having regular connections with CIA, the heads of the CIA, heads of intel departments throughout the world. So it's a great line of questioning here from Jesse Waters, obviously a bold line of questioning. But he's saying that there's zero evidence that he was a spy, and the DOJ has released everything. That's a lie, says Nancy Mace. Many of the most important documents are still redacted. What is the truth? Wow, he's going to be worse than Pam Bondi. Great. Okay. Let's go ahead and see, ladies and gentlemen. The Epstein files are done. ADG Blanche says they've released all the files. While acting AG Todd Blanche stated the DOJ released all the files, the DOJ identified 6 million potentially responsive pages and only published 3.5. Okay, there you go. There's the community note. Can Todd Blanche be trusted? People are posting a photo of Todd Blanche with CNN's Kate Land Collins. They were having a sneaky little lunch here. We'll see. Totally in favor of Stephen Miller becoming the Attorney General, obviously. New Attorney General Todd Blanche says the DOJ is done with the Epstein files. The review is over, he says.
Released, there are a small number of documents, as I said on Friday, that we're waiting for a judge to say we're allowed to release because of a protective order. But this review is over. I mean, we reviewed over 6 million.
Okay. I will agree with him on this thing. I've said this before a million times. I will agree with him on this thing, that the Epstein saga is a weapon. And we were just too stupid to use it. Now, not me. Nobody elected me. I haven't put my name on a ballot. Maybe I will someday. I'm not sure because it makes me so angry. But it wasn't me who used them as a weapon. We could have, the Republicans could have used the Epstein files as a weapon for years. We could have used them as a weapon against Biden, against Obama. But we didn't. Instead, we waited till this Trump term, and they used it as a weapon against us, in spite of the fact that the vast majority of people that are implicated or look terrible in this are Democrats. So that's just a giant L that Republicans have to take for being stupid, which is true. Just is true. Tom Homan said Todd Blanche is about to step up hard as Attorney General. He won't skip a beat. I wish Pam Bondi the best. I think Todd will step up and won't skip a beat. He'll keep the train on the track and we'll keep moving forward, says probably the most trusted law enforcement advisor to the president right now, which would be Tom Homan. So I guess we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been frustrating, obviously, and it's been an unnecessary L, I would argue, for the administration.
Another theory is that Epstein is well connected to foreign intelligence services. Do you have any evidence of him being a spy or a plant for another foreign country?
No, there's no evidence of that, and we did look at that extensively. Not only this administration, but every administration that's been involved in Epstein could look at that, and there's no evidence that he was associated with, well, let me just not say there's no evidence. The evidence that people say exists does not point to him being any part of foreign intelligence. Now, as I will say repeatedly, I did not know Epstein. I was not part of those investigations. So I'm answering your question based upon what I know, based upon my investigation as a Deputy Attorney General for the past 11 months or so. So, but from what I have seen in the files and from what I understand happened during all the investigations, there's zero evidence of that.
Okay. This is your new Attorney General. What do you think about that? Obviously, we believe that it was the Epstein saga. I know as a matter of fact that it was the Epstein saga that got Pam Bondi out. So what happens next? Not sure. New boss, as bad as the old boss? Let me know in the comments. It's your boy Benny. See ya.